for there never seems to be enough time to do the things we want to do once we find them. I looked around enough to know you're the one I want to go through time with. That's a little something from the late, great Jim Croce. Let's see, we're coming up on the hour. And I want to mention that our show today is sponsored by pancakes. If you don't have a waffle iron, eat pancakes. And dippy eggs. If you're not from Pennsylvania, you have no idea what the hell I'm talking about. Dippy eggs. Find them in the cooler section of your favorite grocery store. Okay, so the topic of today's video, and of course I say today's video even though you people won't be seeing it for a couple of weeks after I make it. I think I'm almost up to Veterans Day right now. Anyway, today's topic is holding grudges. And I got to thinking today, because one of my favorite sisters asked me to pick up something for her from the local library. It was a coffee mug. It says "Eat 'em up Osceola" on it. A great item, except I'm not wild about the organization selling it, and I won't go into detail. I won't use their real name. Let's just call them the Hysterical Foundation for now. But I got it for her. She sent me the money. You know, I'm not that good of a brother that I'm just going to go and buy it for her without the money up front. I've dealt with her for 60 years. I know how she is. Anyway, I told her I picked it up, and she said, "Oh, good." She said, "Maybe later on I'll get a sweatshirt." And I said, "Well, I don't really like giving money to the Hysterical Foundation." And I think she realized why I said that, and she apologized. And I told her, "Well, it's okay. You just gave me an idea for my next video." This is all done over Facebook Messenger, by the way. It's much easier to talk to people that way than to, actual conversation. Anyway, but that got me to thinking about holding grudges. And I think some people that think they know me might be surprised to hear me say that I'm actually a kind of forgiving person. People have done things to me that I have forgiven and or forgotten. I tend to let things go. But that's when they do things to me. When people do things to family or close friends, that's stuff that I don't let go of too easy. I definitely am holding grudges against people for various things that they've done to other people. And it's funny because I know I'm sorry, I got distracted. A little notice came up over here. I don't know what it was. Anyway, I know that the person, the family member, or whoever, that I am offended on behalf of has probably long forgiven the offense. But not me. I won't. I just won't. Sorry. Do not come after my loved ones. So anyway, I was thinking about this when I said to Barb, who shall remain nameless. I was thinking about this and I thought, well, my grudge against the hysterical people has lasted quite a while. And that's a little out of character for me. And then I realized that it's not so much that I'm holding a grudge against what they did to me, it's what they did to my beloved library. And I'll just go into that a bit. Again, we'll use names will be changed to, protect the guilty. But I give at least 50% of the blame for the public library closing to the Hysterical Foundation. Because what happened way back when I first started at the library, and I started as a volunteer for, a year or two before I got hired when someone else had left, and I eventually became the library manager. But anyway, I'd been at the library for a couple of years when the guys from the American Legion came and said, would we want their building, which had been sitting empty for quite a while. And it's a great old building. I really have to learn how to edit. And I could put up a picture of it, If I'd have thought of it, I'd have had a picture up on my computer and I could have showed it to you. But anyway, and it's a building that was built in 1876. I know that because it has a cornerstone that says 1876. It was built by the Brisbane family as a family home, and later on it's one of those big, like, Victorian houses, and later on there was different businesses in there. And then for a number of years it was the home of the American Legion. And for a while my father was a bartender in there. So I had a connection with the place. And actually, I don't think I've ever mentioned this to people before, but I collect what we call in the biz breweriana. It is things that have to do with beer. For instance, this little bulletin board over here, you see it says Pabst Blue Ribbon on it. That would be considered breweriana. That would be an old advertising piece. There's a little Genesee magnetic bottle top there. But I have other stuff that's all put away in that. Signs and, church keys and so forth. But anyway, I have a great big collection of beer trays. One of these days I might do a video just on the junk I still have that I collected over the years. But anyway, that's kind of beside the point. But I know that's how that started for me going to the Legion and seeing like the beer trays there, and I always thought they were cool. So anyway, but the Legion kind of went defunct, and there were a few guys around who were still members, but they weren't really doing anything with the building, so they asked if the library would want it. And we thought that'd be good. We didn't know how we would handle it, though. And we had some public meetings at the VFW, and a lot of people showed up. And it started off as, let's fix this place up to put the library in. And, I think if we had just signed up all those people for the Friends of the Library, things would have turned out a lot different. But what happened was, in I think the second meeting, one guy, a friend of mine, I think he's still a friend of mine, he had an idea, and it seemed like a good idea at the time. He said, if we form a hysterical foundation, there's a lot of government grants out there to recondition hysterical buildings. And people said, yeah, let's do that. And they joined us. Now, the problem with that is what happened was, as soon as that came about, then people got like two different frames of mind. There was people who were interested in library and the people who were interested in being hysterical. And so it's sort of a little divide happened. And because of the way things worked out, it was like the hysterical people became like the landlords. Now, there's a little bit of legality, confusing legalities there. It turned out that the Legion couldn't actually turn over the building to anyone else. It was in the charter that if they ever gave up on it, it would have to go to the National Legion. And I think for grant purposes, what worked out best was they gave a 23 million year lease to the borough for $1. And then the borough then subleased it to the hysterical people. And then the hysterical people rented the first floor to us. And it started off, now when we were in Dr. Harkins's building, he charged us a very small fee. I mean, it definitely was not the going rate. But he was a library supporter. So when this first went on, we said, well, of course, we'll just, and besides that, the borough was paying our rent. And they had decided they were giving us a little bit on top of the rent every year. And so we said, well, we'll turn over that money we get from the borough as rent here to help pay for things. And that started off okay. And then after a bit, the hysterical people said, well, that's not enough money. We're going to need to, add $50 to that or whatever it was. And then they had to double it. And eventually it was quadrupled. And for any of you that don't know, if you haven't got the idea by now, I live in a very small town. We've got a little over 1,000 people. And our biggest industry is bars and hairdressers. So we don't have a whole lot of money here. Anyway, so they kept upping our rent. And then they said, oh, and we can't afford to pay for the oil. We want you guys to pay for the oil. And I'll tell you another story just to show you what some of these people are like. Well, I'll tell you what else we did though before that. We, as in the Friends of the Library, paid to, I can't remember if we paid for them all or just, so I think they replaced all the windows, with modern storm windows. And so it was thousands of dollars that the Friends of the Library kicked into the whole renovation thing. But it seemed okay at the time because it was supposed to be for, to make a home for the library. But again, like I say, there was those two trains of thought. First thing they did was the upstairs of the building that had been an old ballroom. And when I was a kid, I went to a wedding there once. That was supposed to be used for library events and things. Well, now the hysterical people said, oh, let's put a museum up there. And so we were also supporting the museum. And we also paid the electric bill and the garbage for the whole building. I was going to tell you that one of the things that shows you what these people were like. One time, the one guy, and I don't know, he's one of their mucky mucks. And I can't remember if he was the president of the hysterical people or what. But we'll call him Floyd. They were clearing out a bunch of stuff down the basement. This is after the library was moved in and everything. The library also paid for to carpet the whole downstairs too, and to buy some new shelves and things. Anyway, he came to me. This was after I was in charge, and he said, "Hey, we're cleaning a bunch of stuff out and gonna have it hauled away." He said, "I saw where you had some stuff down there in the corner, some boxes and that. Do you want us to get rid of that for you while we're at it?" I said, "Yeah, that's a good idea. We have no use for that crap." So he did that. And like the next month, I got a call from our county headquarters. That's where the bills went through. They would pay the bills, and then I'd have to send them money. Anyway, the bookkeeper over there, Lois, she says, "Hey, did you have a bulk garbage pickup?" I said, "No." And she said, "Well, I got a bill from the garbage company for whatever it was, however much money it was." And I realized it was from the hysterical people throwing that stuff away. He came to me and asked, the way he put it was like he was doing me a favor. And no, they charged it to our account. And I said, "Well, I never authorized it." And I think she sent that bill then to the hysterical people. But yeah, they were just sort of sleazy that way. But anyway, between them raising what we had to pay, and at the same time, the state of Pennsylvania cutting back on anything that was good for people, like libraries and social things, we ended up losing our public library. And now they do have a little volunteer library there that supports it's supposedly supported by the hysterical people, but, of course they have to kick their money to the hysterical people, and that's what the deal was with that cup that Barb bought. But anyway, yeah, that's the thing. Not even sure if I covered what I said I was going to talk about, grudges. But that's why that particular grudge has held on for so long, because I don't think wasn't really so much about me personally. It was about them ruining the good thing we had going there. Um, during the whole transition too, they were like so rude. They were like coming in and wanting to have an inventory of everything we were given to them and stuff. It was like, you know, uh, they weren't paying for anything. But it's like, oh, well, we're getting this and this and this, right? It's like, well, what the hell? I wasn't going to carry a bunch of bookshelves home or anything. We did a lot of our books we sent over to the county library because we kind of specialized in science fiction. Because it turned out when I first started working there or volunteering there, they had quite a bit of science fiction. I came in and I was requesting science fiction, and the head librarian at the time, her son was a big science fiction fan, so she got stuff for him. And then later on, another lady that volunteered and eventually started working there, she read all the same kind of books I did, so we naturally had a good science fiction thing. And it was funny, I could remember getting interlibrary loan requests for some of our books from like the Carnegie Library in Pittsburgh. And it's always sort of funny, little old Osceola having something that they had to borrow from us. But yeah, so a lot of that stuff went over to county because they didn't have it. Anyway, the religious people tell us that you should forgive and forget, that it's good for you. But, I'm not religious. So I say screw that. Like I said, don't hurt the people I love or the things that I love, because I'll never I'll never give up on finding a way to screw you over back. Just a warning for you. So what else? We covered Grudges. We covered pancakes. We covered dippy eggs. We covered a little bit of Jim Croce. There's something. Did I do a thing on 70s music yet? That definitely should be coming up. That's my era, you know. The 70s singer-songwriters. I like stuff right from the 60s right through today, but my guys are those early 70 guys. Anyway, anybody got any questions? You want to play us out there, Doc? Doc? The whole damn band went on break. Anyway, guys, peace out.